I want to talk shortly about ADA. Before, when I worked, there was no interpreter. We'd have meetings, and they would talk really long in that meeting, and then I'd have to ask the hearing people what they say, and they would just give me a little short answer. Now, they have interpreters, and interpreters can interpret, and we can understand fully, so I'm thankful for the interpreters.
Okay, so the ADA was good legislation because it helps a lot of people with disabilities, get what they need, get the equal rights they need and accommodations they need to, just live the life they want to lead. So like I know for me in school, I got accommodations, I got stuff in bigger font, and I got, when I couldn't see notes on the board, they would, either give me a copy of it on paper or get somebody to take notes for me or something so I could get the information. And, way back in the day, in the old times, that wasn't something that they did.
When the ADA came into effect 20 years ago, it was an incredible piece of legislation that afforded the largest minority in this country and a tremendous amount of rights and laws that would help them in employment, accessibility, transportation, all kinds of things that we never had. And again, we're the largest minority in the country, and it took until 1990 to get the basic rights that we had and other people have had for many years.
And then, when you go to get a job, it's important too because, there are questions that, employers can't ask you, because of the ADA, and otherwise, they could just come out and say, so, what's your disability? And then if they didn't like it, they could just say, okay, well, we're not going to hire you because we don't like people with disabilities.
So the ADA is a very great piece of legislation that helps those of us with disabilities get our equal access into the community, and it's very good that the ADA Amendments Act was passed, which strengthened the ADA, which was being whittled away at slowly by the courts and legislators. And it kind of concerns me nowadays that some politicians and candidates think that the private businesses will, on their own volition, make themselves accessible and make accommodations for people with disabilities. And from personal experience, I know that that's not the truth, because there's plenty of buildings out there now that I cannot get into still after 20 years in the ADA. So we need to continue to fight for our civil rights and make sure that we use the ADA as it was intended to be, and not use it, but to use the ADA in its fullest.
Before ADA, when I went to the doctor, there was no interpreter. So I would say, I need an interpreter, I can't understand. So I was really patient, but I didn't understand. So then they finally agreed to hire an interpreter, and I was very happy. I know it's very important for privacy, but I don't want to misunderstand the doctors, so.
And I think just ADA was good too, just for kind of getting it out there, that people with disabilities are out there, and that, they want to do stuff too in life, and that they can do stuff, in life, important stuff just like everybody else can, and just kind of made people think about it. I mean, I know I've had friends with service animals, and we'll just like go out to eat, at a restaurant, and like nobody says anything, and that's in ADA is that, service animals have to be allowed in places.
So I'm thankful for ADA. Wow.